Today I have in front of me what I think might be the best value when it comes to an espresso machine. And what I mean by that is the best value when it comes to a machine that has a boiler inside of it. You can get better shots with manual machines and things like that, but I'm talking about the best one that actually like heats up the water for you. And this brings me to the Turin Legato. Before we get into this review, I just say please like and subscribe. That helps me produce more content here as a YouTuber. You can find a link for this in the description below, where I'll make a small commission at no extra charge to you to help fund this channel. I have an Instagram account and a Patreon. You can find those links as well below. So starting off, this machine was sent to me from Espresso Outlet in Turin Grinders, who distribute this all over the US, and they have no say in what this review is and are seeing it when you are, so this is still unbiased. So first off is this machine comes in at $499, and this resembles a Rancilio Silvia quite well. Some of the few differences though is the price point of this is $350 cheaper than the Rancilio Silvia. It comes with a PID that you can see right here and a gauge that you can see right here. And one of the unique things about this machine versus the other ones in the price point is it is a single boiler machine, but it has a thermal block when it comes to steam. That being said, it heats up steam very, very well when it comes to this machine. So we're going to talk some more about this machine, but I'm going to do what most people probably want me to do. First off is I am going to pull a shot with this machine. So I have no idea how well this is going to be dialed in. And it's always awkward to pull machines from this angle. So we have a handy dandy little scale, and we have a cup from Not Neutral that will fit, but as always with spattered portafilters, it can be a little difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this button, which this is the auto button, so you can kind of set it to whatever you want, and it will brew for a certain amount of seconds, and it will pre-infuse for whatever you set it to as well. So I set a pre-infusion for, I believe, 5 seconds in here, so it should pre-infuse for 5 seconds and then pull the shot and stop it automatically. So we'll see. So there we go, we started the pre-infusion, and we have the time on the top there, and it is brewing, and we'll see how well this kind of dialed in. I have no idea, to be honest. And we got it dripping out there. So we will see how this comes out to play. Now, I have used this machine extensively over the past month or so, and I messed that up a ton, so we're just gonna fix that again. I didn't actually set that time beforehand. It was from a while back. If you set it, it's gonna give it more or less pretty close to what you want it to be, but it will be off a bit just because it's not perfect, and none of those things are very well. It's all set by time, and it is what it is. You get what you get. It does do a fairly decent job in my opinion. So I'm going to stop that at 36 out, and then we are going to go ahead and remove that cup, and then go ahead and immediately go into steam. And as you can see, that starts pretty quickly, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my milk, and we're going to put that in here, and we're going to do probably a terrible job of steaming milk. We're getting there. Always a long process here, steaming milk. There we go, we got some nice silky milk, and we're going to see if I can pour anything in this cup. My latte art is far from passable in my opinion. There we go, we got a little bit of latte art here, and it is a nice doable little milk drink. You got your cup and saucer, you're good to go here. And because I know you guys kind of want to see what it looks like steaming milk, and I know if I try to tilt this toward the camera, it's not going to work out super well. So there's a nice photo of the latte art that I just poured. It's a pretty passable drink and pretty passable art. More so, the issue lies upon the user rather than the machine's capability. And there you go. A perfect little cappuccino, perfect little milk drink. As you can see, and maybe you haven't experienced a ton, and that's why you're watching this review, that steamer did heat up really, really fast. Like, if you have something like a Ranchilio Sylvia, there's this thing called temperature surfing. Gotta clean the steam wand when you're done. There's this thing called temperature surfing, which is basically trying to figure out how the right temperature to brew your shot at so you get pretty consistent results. And then also, it takes a bit to steam milk because it takes a while to heat up. So because of that steam, because of that thermo block on the inside of it, it steams up drastically faster than any other machine kind of at this price point. What's kind of similar to that is the Breville Bambino. It does heat up a little bit, but you're missing out on build quality with that, and you're missing out on 58 millimeter portafilters and 58 millimeter accessories, which is the standard in the normal. Obviously, you can buy a lot at 51 and 54 like the Breville has, but commercial use, and if you're a barista somewhere, you can use your tampers and your portafilters that you may already have. But what I found with this machine is it produces very, very good quality shots. At $500 for a machine that can steam this quickly and brew that well and has a PID and a pressure gauge is just completely abnormal. Those two things are some of the first things people do when they come to modify a Ranchilio Sylvia is they add a pressure gauge and they add a PID and they add a pressure gauge. So you have all of that opportunity right in this machine for $500. So why would you not get it? And there are two reasons why you should not get it. The first one is I don't know the longevity of this machine, but you can look on the inside of this machine and you can see all the different stuff that they have on the inside. It is very well done. There's insulation on the sides of on the interior sides of the machine. It looks built well together, and I'm no repair person, but this looks fairly easy to repair and replace parts on. But it is a very new machine to the market. However, it has been produced under other manufacturers prior to Turin before, and they've made some revisions. So I'm not sure on the parts, and that's kind of a questionable thing, and I'm not saying go away from it because of that, but that's one of the things that the Ranchilio Sylvia has been around for many, many years, and you're not going to have to worry about that. But again, you're almost getting pretty darn close to double the price point of a Ranchilio Sylvia in comparison to this, and this one actually functions better and you get a little bit more out of it. So I personally would take that risk on the lack of availability of parts. To my knowledge, there could be more, and I might not have an idea of that. If you do know more about the availability of parts, please comment below, let us know, and I'll pin that for everybody else to see. But overall, this is an incredible machine. The ability to have that time dosing or the auto dosing thing with button number 3 down here is very, very convenient. The other day I decided to pull 7 or 8 shots back to back to back on this, and I used a time grinder, so I got to be pretty consistent at spouting out 18, and it would pull the shots here and run 2 portafilters. So I was pushing this through very, very quickly, and it kept up very well. And what I did was I made a gigantic gallon of iced latte, so I didn't need the steam function of it. But it kept up very, very well with that. It gave pretty decent results back to back on all of those. I think the more of the issue is I was having is I was using 2 different portafilters with 2 different baskets, and one was a high flow and the other one was a low, and that kind of affected the output a little bit. But nonetheless, it still worked pretty well, and nobody had any complaints on the big gigantic thing I bought because it had milk and sweetener in it. So overall, if you're looking for a small machine at your house, this is good. The only other better options, in my opinion, that are out there are things in the manual espresso route. So if you wanted something like a Cafe Let Robot or a Flare, you're, in my opinion, going to get better results out of that because you get more control out of it. But this is very, very good for what you get. And it's kind of a whole different league comparing it to manual machines in comparison to this. A few other features of like it's just not as polished as I would hope for. It has a little bit of a drip tray that sticks out on the side. It's kind of hard to see. The corners of it just aren't as polished as the Rancilio Sylvia and some other ones. It's not bad. I wish this had a little bit more articulation of putting the steam one in there so it covers the drip tray when you shoot it. Overall, it does a fairly decent job, and it definitely gives you enough room to steam milk. Think about it. It's a Turin which kind of starts off as the first iteration needs some improvements, and then they continue to get better and better and better, and they continue to hold their values well in competing with other things at higher price points. A drip tray that sticks, or a water reservoir that sticks out a little bit, some kind of rougher corners on it, is a small issues to pay for in the amount of savings that you're doing. The steam knob feels nice. The portafilter is just okay, but it's decent. You're gonna need to buy a new tamper, and I would probably buy a bottomless portafilter for it. But other than that, you're good to go, and you're gonna get fantastic results out of it. It's fairly easy to take apart. There's a couple weird locations of screws, in my opinion. Nice little cup warmer. That's kind of hot on top. Great machine, great value. Anybody who buys this machine is going to be very happy with it, in my opinion. And it still does look pretty good. And I've seen people vinyl wrap this whole thing. Coffee Nerd Aaron did that, and he made his matte black. So if you want to put a little bit more elbow grease and take this apart, you can do that. It has a nice little steel from Breville here, where if you fill up this drip tray, a red thing will kind of pop up a little bit. Under the drip tray is plastic, but again, not a big deal. Other than that, it's built very well. There's a little LED. If you're in the market for an espresso machine, it's getting better than what it was 5 years ago. When I started this journey, there wasn't very many options. It was a Gaja Classic at $450, and if you're looking at that, buy this. Hands down, is going to be better. Have more metal, better built, quicker steaming. And then it was the Rancilio Sylvia, which was quite a bit. Or then it was going the opposite end of the side and get a Breville with a built-in grindo for now it's $700. So you buy this and you buy an SD40 or an SK40 by Turin at $700. This, hands down, I would put this over the Breville Barista Express. No question about it. If you pair it with something like the DF64 Gen 2 coming at 400, even better of a value of a deal. Hands down, would recommend it. Worth every single penny. Good machine. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's other things you want to see on this machine. And make sure you like and subscribe. I got some big giveaways coming up soon on this channel in the year of 2024. It's going to be a great year, so thanks for joining in on this coffee journey.